In this episode of the show, I'm going to be talking about mixing kick drum with samples. That's coming up on Home Music Studio One. All right. Hey guys, Dave Maxey here from HomeMusicStudio1.com. Welcome back to the show. This is the place where you can learn to produce professional quality home music studio recordings, and you can do that even on a limited budget. And in this episode, I want to deal specifically with mixing kick drum with samples. Okay, I've got a few questions this week of Dave, how do I get just a really punchy in your face kick drum sound? And I'm not seeming to get there. I'm trying compression, I'm trying some EQ, and it's not really giving the results that I'm after. So let's go ahead and dive on in. So I've got a project here that I've actually remixed a little bit, and I did something a little unique with this particular track and how I would normally build my drum tracks. Now, normally I use, actually, let me open this up here. Insert virtual instrument on new track, and I normally am building my drum tracks often with the Addictive Drums 2 virtual instrument. I'm in a space that's in my basement. I don't have a live drum set down here, and I just don't have all the microphones and really a nice fine-tuned room to get an excellent drum sound compared to what I can get by creating with a virtual kit. Okay, so I've got Addictive Drums here that I have built this drum track with. Now, here's the unique thing that I did. I went through my VSTI and I disabled all the effects, all the EQ, all the compression, all the tuning on the drums, and I simply created just a raw acoustic kit sound. And one of the things that I did is I used the feature of this virtual instrument to then add samples that are in sync. In particular, we're going to look at the kick drum. Addictive Drums 2 allows you to select trigger samples, okay, of different kicks, and they can be in sync with your original kick drum, all right? I went through and I exported as a WAV file the front side of the kick and the beater side of the kick in individual files, and then I also exported in this originally MIDI drum track virtual instrument. I exported a few different samples that I think are going to work really well with what I'm going to walk you through. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, you might have a different virtual instrument than what I'm using. You might also be using an acoustic drum kit. Maybe you're mixing a live drum kit and you've got a kick drum that you're trying to work with. There's any number of ways to bring samples into your project. I'm not really addressing how you bring samples in this tutorial. I just want to give you some things to think about that, given your own setup, I think will work in a lot of different scenarios. So let's get back to what we're doing here. Let me go ahead and pull this virtual instrument back out of there. So here's what I've got. Let's just go ahead and take a listen to the drum kit. Now, again, keep in mind, these are all WAV files now. I've converted basically my MIDI tracks by, exporting, rendering out the sample, the MIDI triggers into an actual WAV sample is what I'm dealing with. So let's take a listen. Okay, so just more of a rock tune. In fact, let me let you hear a little bit of this in the context with a few more instruments involved. Okay, kind of gives you a little idea of what we're dealing with. So first of all, let's just take a listen to what is going to be the most common way that you're going to mic a kick drum, and that's going to be on the front side of that kick drum. And or if you've got a sampled virtual instrument and you're doing with a kick drum, it's going to be a very common kick drum sound. So I've got a section here looped. Let's just go ahead and take a listen to what we're originally starting with, just the front mic. Okay. So this is really not a bad kick drum sound at all. You can hear it's nice and clean. The fact that we originally started with a virtual instrument gives us a nice bass to work with. Really, what I've done at this point, and I've just done a little bit of EQ. Now, if I turn this EQ off, you're going to hear this range here that I'm cutting. There's kind of this really echoey sound that's happening. You hear the mic inside the chamber of the kick drum when this was originally sampled. Kind of has this roomy, boxy sound to it that I was EQing out. So I'll do a little bit of A/B for you. Okay, so you can kind of hear that ringing in there. So I'm EQing that out right in the neighborhood of a little under 120. You can kind of see the settings that I have here. And then I'm pushing just a touch in the 60 just to give a little bottom in this kick drum. Now, if this were my only mic that I was dealing with, if this were the only track that I had to deal with a kick, then I would definitely do more than what I'm just EQing right now. I might push a little bit of the highs, maybe around 7K, to see if I could pull some of the tick of that beater out a little bit. And I might do a few other things, but we're going to be using a couple different samples in here, as well as blending in our beater side mic. All right. And so if you have a live drum kit and you have the ability to do this, then you might have lots of different mics that you can do this with. I'm doing this all with a virtual instrument exported as waves, so this gives me the same flexibility that I would have if I were in a multi-million-dollar studio. Okay, lots of different ways to mic a drum kit here. All right, so now I've got. Let's just take a listen to the beater side of the kick drum. 'Kay, and, what I've done here simply on this is just a little bit of cut here in that kinda muddy range, just a little bit above that 250. I'm not really done anything else on the EQ. Now the idea here is I'm starting with this original track on my kick drum, and I just wanna begin to blend these 2 sounds together to get a little bit more natural sound of that kick drum from both of these mics. So I've got both these soloed. I'll go ahead and just bring in the beater to where I think is a good balance for this particular style that I'm working with. Okay, that's pretty good. So what we basically are left with is a relatively natural kick drum. Now, if we didn't do anything else to it, I think that right there, if we just listen to that a little bit in the context of some of the mix we have, it's not bad at all. Okay, it's still kind of very present. It's good, and I think it's a pretty tight kick for more of a rock sound in there. But I want to do just a couple more things to this to really get that nice in-your-face kick that really stands out in a mix. All right, and a lot of times when you're really trying to get a kick drum stand out and in the mix, one of the most common things I see is just this tendency to continue to just push the bottom, push the bottom, push the bottom. Boy, the kick is buried, so I need more 50. I need more 60. Maybe I need some kind of subharmonic in there and add more bottom and add more bottom. And that tends to actually get further and further from the result you're after. All right. So if you want a nice present kick, you actually have to have some top end in there as well. You got to have some definition on that beater and that tick sound in there. One of the ways we're going to do that with this setup is I'm going to blend in a kick drum trigger that really has a lot more highs than my original my original kick drum here. So if we listen to this, this is one of the triggers that I've got here. Let's take a listen. Okay, so you can definitely hear some highs in there, a lot more highs. There's still some lows. In fact, if we pull in our frequency analyzer, just look at where our peaks are hitting. Okay, so we got these two regions here right around 100 and then right around that 7K area. So this is not a bad kick drum sound at all. It might even work on its own, but I'm going to blend it with my acoustic sounding kick drum so that we kind of get the best of both worlds. So I'm just simply going to bring this down. We'll solo. Let's see. Let's solo this kick drum here, and this right here is just simply an auxiliary mix of all four of my kick drum tracks. We'll make sure that my final trigger, I'll show you this in a minute, is mixed down. We'll pull that down in the mix. And I'm just going to blend this in until I begin to hear some of the top end of that really come out of the kick drum. Let's listen. See, now hopefully you can hear the difference there. We've got a definite definition and some nice tick happening. Now we listen to that in the context of what we have a little bit of this mix. Okay, just having that in there really gives us a little bit more of that extra special sauce. Kind of helps it pop out of that mix a little bit by having a little bit of that tick of the trigger in there, and we're blending this with our original, so we get all the benefits of the nice balanced kick that we started with, but we're adding more tones to it. Now, let's take a listen to this other trigger that I'm dealing with here. This is a trigger that is a little interesting. Okay, I'm not adding really more bottom end of this trigger. Let's take a listen. You'll see that this ultra bottom, this guy right here is peaking around 100. And this is that range that really gives me some more feel, some more punch, some more in your face for my kick drum. And so I specifically selected this sample to really kind of bring that aspect out of my kick drum. Let's listen. Okay. So it feels like it's girthy, it's kinda in there, but notice it's not girthy, it's not really punchy in the bottom in that 50, 60 range. It's actually in that 100 range. And that is the area that really helps to kinda make this an in your face kick. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend this trigger in with the other 3 tracks that we've got now. Let's listen here to, we'll solo out our aux mix, and then we'll blend this in, see what we've got. Okay, hopefully you've got a decent monitor system that you can kind of pick up on what I'm hearing on my end. Of course, I'm just listening to headphones right now, and I can definitely tell when I blend this kick back in that I'm getting a lot more meat and a lot more feel to this kick drum, and that's super important. Let's listen to that in the context of this mix here. Okay. Obviously, I'm listening to the kick drum right now. I'd probably pull that snare down if I was continuing to build the rest of this mix out. In fact, let's whoops, go ahead and undo that. Let's do this just a little bit, kind of give an idea. I like to kind of make that kick and that snare match up a little bit. Okay. Now I think we're starting to get a really nice kick drum. Once this mix continues to be built out and we pull that in with maybe some master bus compression and we bring the rest of the elements in there, I think we're going to find that this kick is going to set really nice in that mix. It's got a big sound to it, but yet it's nice and mono right in between your ears. We're not panning anything to it. We've got a nice feel to it. We've got plenty of low end in there, and it's a great way to get the job done. Okay. So, depending on the style of music that you're using, blending samples into an original kick drum can be a great way to get the results you're after that you might not have represented in your original kick drum. So, hopefully, this is helpful to you guys. If you've got questions, definitely let me know. And if you've not yet joined us in the online community by joining up with my free affordable home recording tips newsletter, I want to invite you to do that right now. You can simply click the link in the bottom of this description, or if you're on mobile, go ahead and click the link in the upper right of this video. And just as a thank you from me to you for signing up to my free affordable home recording tips newsletter, I'm going to send you a absolutely free ebook entitled Understanding Compression in the Home Music Studio. Answers one of the most popular questions that I get. If you've not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure to do that now. And as always, make sure to share this with someone else that you might find helpful. Until next time, this is Dave Maxey with HomeMusicStudio1.com.